Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble while following us on Facebook, or find us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for past episodes, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe or follow today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good day, everybody, wherever you might be on this spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's weekly series, The Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. If this is your first time tuning in, please click subscribe, like, share, comment, and also don't forget to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Today, One Light, One Love. Author, blogger, founder of Full of History and Genealogy Society in America, a nonprofit organization, and creator of 52 Insights for Gen Alpha, a conscious curriculum, a curriculum specifically designed for 7th and 8th grade students and focused on self-awareness through activities that foster mindfulness, self-management, relationship skills, social awareness, and conscious decision-making. It's currently being piloted in 2 middle schools in Detroit, Michigan. Let's welcome to the show today, Queen D. Michelle. How are you?
Hey, I'm well. Thank you.
I almost forgot to hit record because you shared a lot of information that I definitely wanted to cover and have on record. So,
okay.
But so let's go back a little bit. And how did this journey start?
Okay. It started after I retired from teaching. I'm elementary, middle school teacher, 27 years. And I have taught across the country, Detroit, Michigan. I lived in Las Vegas for 11 years. I lived in Atlanta for 4 years. As a matter of fact, Atlanta is where I retired. And when I retired, that first year after retirement was pretty cool. Just doing things that I would have normally done to supplement my pension. You know, kind of noticed right after retiring, it's not going to be enough. So I started doing just some fun things, you know, Ubering, and I did some remote work, curriculum work. But after about a year, I was like, hey, wait a minute. I'm going to always have to do this, supplement that pension. It wouldn't be enough. And I said, I don't want to be 70 years old saying, welcome to Walmart. You know, you see them everywhere, man. That, they're back out there, in retail at the airport. They're Ubering, they're shuttling because they are supplementing those pensions and that Social Security. And I kind of felt like, listen, I didn't owe no one or anything my life. And so the universe is perfect. I always say this. After realizing that and feeling that, I read an article in International Living, the top 10 places to retire. And Mexico checked all the boxes for me. At the time, of course, living in Atlanta. Yeah. And I moved to Jalisco, Mexico. Now, Mexico has 32 states. And I moved to the state of Jalisco. Now, Jalisco houses the largest freshwater lake in the country of Mexico. It's called Lake Chapala. Now, surrounding that lake are little towns and villages. And on the north shore of that lake is the largest expat community in the country of Mexico. And it's older Americans and Canadians who have, kind of figured it out, right? Yeah. As it relates to retirement. So I moved there with through research. I'm an avid researcher, so I researched and I picked that place. It was only 3.5 hour one way flight from Atlanta.
Wow.
The climate was voted the second best in the world by National Geographic. It's eternally spring there. And then the expat community being large, it made it for a very soft landing. But when I landed there, little did I know the energy of Lakeside. And there is where I experienced, I don't know, just I call it an awakening. It was an awakening. The mountains, the lake, the freshwater lake, they have a vortex there. And
Mhm.
all of these wonderful things that turn one inward, you
Yeah.
know, to themselves, yoga and meditation and the people and I tell you, everything. Yeah, think about it. So the next thing I know, I created a brand, Considerations of the Soul, and I started writing. The first book was Considerations, a guide for moving abroad. That was the first book, and then came uh, Traveling Home Together, which is a spiritual guidebook to assist those awakening and the newly awakened navigate that shift in consciousness they're experiencing. And then I wrote the road to well-being. And I also wrote 52 Insights, a guide, 52 Insights, a guide for living New Earth now.
Mm.
And I had a course that I gave a presentation for that it was going to be an 8-month workshop. It was going to be an 8-month workshop. We're going to meet every Saturday from 10 to 3. I had special guests coming in and people had signed up uh, and then I got a call. I got a call that I needed to return home to my hometown and care for my parents. Uh, I didn't know that when I returned home. I thought I was just coming to check on them and make sure everything, but no, I wound up being their full-time caregiver, which changed the entire trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
And so, for a while, for 2 years or so, all that work that I had done, it was just kind of just pushed to the side. My focus was my parents, and then even after they passed away uh, in 2022, and I took a trip to Africa. Uh, I gifted myself with a trip to Africa after finding out that I am Fula. My maternal bloodline is that of Fula from Guinea-Bissau, West Africa. And I found that out because I took the African Ancestry DNA test. I remember explaining to you about the difference between the African Ancestry
Yeah. Yeah.
DNA and the just the regular Ancestry DNA test.
And I like how your arrival to this village, it gave me goosebumps because I'm
Did
I'm
it?
I'm
Yeah.
feeling it, and I was
Yeah.
feeling it. It was like, oh man, if everybody could experience that, is awesome. So talk about the leading in and the whole setup of
and,
visiting the
and
village for the first time.
I am so glad that you said that gave you goosebumps because you can actually see that video. It is chapter 7. Um, of my blog, which was going to be a book, but it turned out to just be a 16-month blog. I did 16 chapters, and chapter 7 shows that video of me entering into the village. Now, I found that village through there are several countries in Africa, on the continent of Africa right now. But Africa is made up of 52 sovereign countries, not states, sovereign countries with their own money, their own government, their own language, uh, everything. So it's vast in
That's a
that
lot.
respect. It has 3,000 tribes and 2,000 different languages.
Oof.
And so there are several countries who are um, mm, participating in repatriation. Now, repatriation says if you can prove through, say, African ancestry DNA test that your original bloodline was that of uh, a country, like mine said, I was from Guinea-Bissau, West Africa, then you could apply for citizenship. And I actually did do that. Right now it's in the works, it's in the process. The first batch has just went through, and hopefully within the next 6 months or so I'll have dual citizenship.
Sweet.
That of America. No, right? Off the chain.
Yeah.
And so when I returned from Guinea-Bissau, when I returned from Africa, I started a nonprofit organization called Fula History and Genealogy Society in America, and its mission, it has four tenets, and the first being just to raise awareness about generational trauma. See, because it is very true that trauma can be passed down through DNA, unknown to you, that it is in your, they say when it's in your blood, or it's in your DNA. That is absolutely true. And if trauma can be passed down generationally, generation trauma can be passed down, well, so can healing.
Yeah.
Healing can, the whole line from one end to the other, it takes that person to, so there's a whole network of things I'm doing within my organization, within the organization, to bring awareness to that generational trauma. And that book, 52 Insights for Living New Earth Now, that I wrote back in Mexico, well, I gifted that to my niece, who she's a coach for a girls basketball team, high school basketball. She looked at that and she said, Auntie, she said, this would be great for high school. And I thought, yeah, it would. It had been sitting there for a couple of years now, just sitting. And I spoke about that thought with another relative of mine who's a retired teacher and administrator. And she said, oh, no. She said, that's middle school all day long. And I tell you, Paul, I exploded. It was like certain light codes went off in me, and it became extremely clear that all of that work that I did in Mexico, those books and that course and everything, it was never meant for the audience I thought it was meant for. It was meant for Generation Alpha, and that was through meditation that this came to me, because I live my life from within out. And so everything that I ever need to know, and how I move and talk and what I do, where I go, I'm led from within. I call it my soul self. And it was explained to me that all that work was for Generation Alpha. So a deep dive into Generation Alpha I went, as a researcher, as an educator. And there are now 52 lessons that that book is now. And on my website, on the organization's website, there's a tab that says 52 Insights. And you click on that tab because right now that program is being piloted in 2 middle schools here in Detroit. So I'm overseeing that. And I've come to realize a lot about, I got into those schools I'm gonna be honest with you, by the skin of my teeth. And it was not mindfulness, in the school. But here's the thing: who's Generation Alpha?
Yeah,
That's who I wanted. That's who I want to talk about. Let me tell you about those individuals. Generation Alpha was born between 2010 and 2024. The oldest of that generation turned 13 last year. That is the first generation to be born fully in the 21st century. That's the generation that is the most materially endowed ever. And they will be the largest generation in the history of the world. Listen, and they are responsible, and I'm getting ahead of myself because I get excited
Yeah.
because it's so cool. They are responsible for the evolution. The evolution of consciousness the evolution of the collective consciousness of humanity.
Wow.
Alpha, Generation Alpha. And I'm so excited about this generation. My grandson, he's 6 years old. He's Gen Alpha, you know? And with the oldest of that generation just turning 13, we still have time. See, here's the thing, and this is where we missed it with them. And it's not our fault. I get it. Watch this. This generation was taught externally since the time they came out. They have always been taught externally for the most part. You see, the tablet and the phone went in hand in infancy. At 1 and 2, they were touching and sliding and swiping. From the very beginning. So that's a lot of stimuli. Now, we're at that point because they're the children of the millennials and some of those X's who got in the game late. That's who the Gen Alpha is. And no mix against them because they were trying to keep up with how it was swift, switching and changing and moving and so when they saw, oh wow, I can get the dishes done. Oh, I can, oh well, sure. Oh, and it's teaching them too. It kept them. They could. So I get that. I understand. But here's the thing: Generation Alpha is in spaces and in platforms free from parental influence. They will and are right now in spaces and platforms that the parents don't even understand. They are going where we're not going. And this is where we've missed them at. Because they've been taught externally for so long, we haven't given them the social intelligence that it takes to navigate those spaces and platforms that they're going. That's something that we can give them. We can't give them where they're going. We ain't going. We can't give it to them because our influence are not their influences. Because remember back in the day, I don't know if you can, but back in the day, they had home ec, they had a shop, they had mechanics, they had, for the time. And I get that. Great. They don't have that anymore, but they haven't replaced it with anything that helps with that social and here's the thing, parents, and I'm not knocking them, they're not giving it to them because it's something that wasn't given to them. So they're not, it's not anything that was handed down. This is all new. This is new territory. So we need to put something in place in those starting in. Hopefully somebody will come behind me because I'm pioneering the middle school. I'm catching them right now at 13. But someone who can get on this understanding and train, get to the little ones. Get that curriculum, use my template and take it down this first so that they are always getting this because we're not giving them the social intelligence that it takes to balance. There has to be a balance, and there's no balance. We're trying this and banning TikTok, and let's do this, and we're going to ban this, we're going to censor. That's not help. We have to show them how to consciously navigate their realms. So that's I'm extreme, and that's why I say it was really hard getting just these two schools getting in. I would go to district meetings and board meetings and watch the chaos of the matrix, and then they would call me up. And I say, well, hey, I have this this mindfulness curriculum, this would help with acting. And what they said to me? Thank you. Next. Are you serious? And I got into these two schools by the skin of my teeth. And then the next challenge was the teachers. See, this is the biggest lesson that I learned, Paul, is that unconscious can't teach consciousness.
No. Yeah.
See, this is a journey that not only they will take those students on, but they go on themselves. And if they're not, and I get it, and I understand why. Listen, those teachers, because I'm in those schools that are piloting my program, I'm there. So I'm in the lunchroom. I'm assisting the teachers. I'm dealing with. So I'm seeing, because I'm overseeing, my baby, right?
Yeah.
Seeing the engagement and everything of it, and those teachers are overworked, underpaid, overwhelmed, putting out all kinds of fires that they are just not equipped to put out. Administration is coming down on them. Those kids are 2, 3 grade levels behind, and bring up the scores, but the behavior problems. It is utter chaos. And then here I come and I tell the teacher, so listen, before you start, breathe in, and then have them breathe, and then then meditate. These sources, these things that I'm giving them to ground, to center, and then with the exercise, they it's challenging, but I have a couple and doggone it, we're doing it. So here recently, over the break, I had a group. My focus group has pretty much gotten down to a focus group. And I had them do a 16-day intensive over the break, where they were hitting the lessons daily for 16 days straight. Parents engaged as well. And now I'm in the process of interviewing the students, the parents, as to how did they feel about that curriculum and what, in that program, because they are the ambassadors.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing, Paul. I know that this curriculum is needed. I know that it's impactful. I know that it's helpful, but I need teachers to teach it and students to engage in it, in order for that to be so. And I have come to learn that was the wrong spot. Thank goodness I got in when it was able to at least do this and have this focus group. But now I'm looking for those conscious arenas who are looking for, who understand, who is it something out there that can help, especially those homeschoolers. Because
Yeah.
I think a lot of homeschool already get it, that the system is so broken.
Mm-hmm.
It is so broken.
Yeah.
It's so broken.
And since COVID, there's been such a huge increase of parents taking their kids out of public school.
Absolutely. So I'm looking for those schools, those charters, or those private schools that say, hey, bring that in. We can make a space for that. Because why can't that be a class? Why? And see, they won't finish it in a semester or 2 semesters. This is a year long. It starts is for 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. So say a 7th grade starts off in 7th grade with it, he won't finish it until 8th grade. If 8th grade start off, you won't finish it until it's a year long program course. Wow. And it's set up this way. You remember I told you I'm in Mexico, and I have several platforms. I started a brand, and I'm on YouTube. I had YouTube and all that. So every Thursday across my platforms, I would put out a quote, an original quote that came from one of my books, or just through meditation, my blogs, because I had a blog called Flowing and Growing, and that went for 2 years straight, every 1st and 15th of every month for 2 years straight. I didn't miss that blog. Flowing and Growing blog came out. So on Thursdays, that quote would come out. And so I took those 52 quotes for a whole year. I have 52
Yeah.
quotes. It's 52 quotes in a year. And then I brought it together, put a reflection page with it. And now that reflection page takes them deeper into that particular quote or premise of the quote, to the blog, to the YouTube channel, to the audio. There's a deeper dive
Yeah.
in it. And my book, Traveling Home Together, there's an actual workbook that goes along with it. So um, so I have a lot of content. I have a lot of rich, meant for, and I know that this will get out and that this will sweep, because the way it all came to be, it was not by accident. See,
Mm.
I am a light worker. I am a way shower. I am a frequency code holder and a new earth representative. My soul contract with the ancestors is to simply plant seeds and water plants. And
Yeah.
it ain't my harvest. I'm here to plant seeds and water plants, but it is my time. I came forth for a time such as this. And I'm excited about it. Anytime I get a chance to talk about it, this curriculum and like I said, those who want to pick that up, and because they can start as early as preschool. You see, from preschool, why can't that grow? And they have little what do you call those, little kitchens and things in preschools, and
Yeah.
just let's normalize living consciously, because
Hmm.
that's the only way they'll be able to navigate where they're going,
Hmm.
because
And it's
they
about
outbound.
and two, it's like I've noticed, I've heard, through some friends of mine's or colleagues, that it's trying to, especially teaching kids nowadays, it's like we have to be present. We have to be present in the here now. We're using all this technology, computers in the classroom and tablets and phones and blah, 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 blah. We're not as present as we should be. And this is why we got lost. We've lost ourselves. We've lost the critical thinking skills. We've lost the socializing skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You
And it's like,
absolutely, just the social, we're missing social cues.
mhm,
Social awareness is
yeah.
lacking. Relationship skills is lacking. And
Situational
it's
awareness. That's so important.
and let's get a course in there.
Mhm.
Let's get we are responsible. Let's get a course in there.
Yeah.
That's all. That's it. And that's why I love the um the title of my brand, Considerations of the Souls, because you
Mhm.
can consider or not,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Or I promise you, there's no. I promise you that. So yeah.
And spiritually too, we are all, we may not know it because we're all on autopilot at some point in our lives, in the daily waking lives. At some point, our spirit guides, our ancestors are going to come in and smack us one and go, "Whoa, wake up, wake up!" They're giving us signs, they're giving us hints,
You
they're helping us,
listen.
guide us, but we're not paying
It's
attention.
it's too many distractions, Paul. It
Yep.
wasn't until I moved out of that realm of um the states. And understand this too. Energetically, the United States is very dense. It's
Yeah.
very heavy. It's heavy. And I'm talking just it's heavy energetically. When I moved to Mexico, just breathing. The air, yes, the air is different and sweeter.
Yeah.
But the distractions are not there. So now I can tune. They're keeping you from tuning in word. Because if you do, you will hear them. You
Mhm.
will hear them. And then you will hear them telling you, all, where to go, who to talk to, what to do, what to be. They're here. And so there's a saying, I'm looking for it now, because it's I had it on one of the cards that and it talks about every family needs that son or daughter that's doesn't listen to what anybody says, and
Yeah.
they're low key healing the generational trauma that no one seems to be aware of.
Yeah.
They need that one, and because all it takes is that, and then the lights, and then the light, and see, listen, generation alpha is coded differently. They remember from 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 birth.
Yeah.
That external, all of that from birth, they're wired. They are a completely different breed. They
Mm.
are, and we will continue to fail them if we don't at least meet them. And because they still need us to give them that balance, and it's missing. We're missing it with them.
Yeah.
And that's my call. That's my call that I'm putting I'm putting out. I want those who I want more to engage in this curriculum.
Yeah.
I do, and see what it's a very small group that'll be able to say a little bit about it. That'll be on my website, but
But
it
it's
is
interesting too that we start to realize, few of us, me, you, your coworkers, your colleagues, people have, all the guests that have been on this show, that we're starting to, as a collective,
yes.
starting to realize that we are on the precipice. We are right there on the line.
Come
That's
on.
dangerous. That's dangerous. That we are either going to follow down the line of taking advantage of our technology and fall asleep,
Right.
or we go the other direction and realize we need to save humanity.
Yes. They are, and it comes to there's an evolution that needs to take place.
Mm-hmm.
And see, when I say 52 insights for living new earth now, people get all caught up in the woo-woo of new earth. New
Yeah.
earth is not a place. It's a state of mind.
Yeah.
It's a state of consciousness. That's new earth. And in there is oneness and unity and collaboration and love, and it's enough for everybody. And that space, that old earth, that who will I can go on and on about that, and I'll just call it the matrix. I'll call it the system,
Mhm.
and one of the very first quote out of the curriculum is, the matrix cares not about the quality or your purpose, the quality of your life or your purpose here. They only care about it only cares about the quantity and how much you can give over to the system.
Yeah.
You owe no one or no thing your life. That's the quote number. That's the very first quote. And I want that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
That kind of, this was written, by a teacher for teachers, or those who deal with, kids 7th through 9th grade, to empower them to be conscious thinkers and creators. Conscious thinkers and creators. We're creators, not meant to just be in that matrix,
Mm-hmm.
be on that wheel. But they will distract you. They will any and every, and they're using it to their advantage. They're using it to their advantage. But look how we're using it. We're using it too. It is needed, and we do need it, but they're using it for that. We're using it for what for the good, for the light, to anchor light, and to plant seeds and to water plants.
Yeah, we got to be careful how we use technology. It's great. I mean, I like
Hey,
how the AI
look
is
at
out
us.
there and stuff like that.
Look
It's
at
wonderful,
us.
but it's like we gotta.
There's no balance if
Yeah.
we do not help them to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
Give them the tools. That's all we do. We're giving them the tools. those
Okay.
tools that's needed. So they're awake, they're conscious, they're living consciously, they're living awake, you know?
Yeah. Now the website you have is was it fullaamerica.org?
Yes, now that's the nonprofit, and on there you will see um a 52 insights tab that's about the curriculum, and next to that you'll see my soul's journey home, and that's the blog that documents my whole trip to the from the start of finding out that I was Fula from the very beginning all the
Wow.
way to the trip. And then I also visit Egypt while I was there, and I cruised the Nile. So yeah, all that's, but that's on the website. That's on the nonprofit website.
Huh. Cool.
You seeing it?
Yeah, I'm
Are you
looking
going
at
to
it.
chat?
It's
Are
awesome.
you going to chat? Hey, listen, go to chapter. I mean, like if you go to my soul's journey home, and if you click on chapter 7, there's that video of me arriving at the village, and you'll see me ask my guy, can I hug? When I get out the car, I'm like, can I hug him? That's the first thing I asked. But they had
Wow.
already let them know that I was arriving, and uh and anytime I show that or I present generational trauma, and
Yeah.
they see that video, man, I tell you, when I fall into their arms, you can hear it in the audience. It's a, and so
Wow.
that made you reminded me of that when you said you got goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. I've treasured so many cultures. I'm a lack of a better word. It's actually, and when I say I'm a globalist, it comes off the wrong way. But I'm more of, the better to understand it is my appreciation of cultures all over the world. From
Mm-hmm.
the Orient. I've lived in China for about a year. Went to Cambodia.
Mm.
Studied with the monks in Cambodia.
Wow.
And there's so much other stuff on my bucket list. Cairo, other
Of
parts of
course.
Africa, and
Yes.
just embracing the culture and the richness in these cultures all over the world that still practice and work with
Community.
and
Community.
working within the
And
communities.
yes,
Wow.
yes. Oh
It's
yeah,
like
it's
we
mind
got to
blowing.
bring some of
It's
that back and keep it
we
alive.
that's what that's exactly how I feel. Now look, when you mentioned Cairo, after I leave Guinea-Bissau, because I was only there for 7 days,
Yeah.
then I go to Egypt, and I pick up. I start in Cairo. You will see the bed and breakfast was at. I spent the night in the Egyptian desert,
Wow.
the White Desert. I think you would really like that if you find yourself some time. I got some interesting stuff, especially if you want to go to Cairo. Check it. I went. Check it out. I think
Yeah.
you'll like
Nice.
it.
Nice. Wow. Man. So before we wrap up the show,
Uh-huh.
again, where can people find you, your work? It's also
Um,
scrolling on the bottom, but for those who are listening.
Oh, that's wonderful. There it is right there, FulaAmerican.org. Oh, and they can also go to Considerations of the Soul. Now, I don't have that on there because get this, that's the curriculum's website now. That's the website of the curriculum. But that's where Flowing and Growing is. That's where you will see I kept that. It now belongs to Gen Alpha, so
Yeah.
that when they're engaging in the curriculum, sometimes I'm sending them to that site for them to pick up that blog. Also, my blog, Keeping Tabs in Mexico, I did that for a year after the book. That blog is also on considerations of the soul.com. One word, considerations of the soul.com.
Cool.
That was my brand when I first, but now I've turned it over to Generation Alpha because a lot of my material and work is on there.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
it's theirs now. But I want them to check that out too. So
Cool.
you can see
Cool.
my work. Yeah, my work is on there.
Right on. Right on.
So those two, yeah, that'll get you.
I'll put those in the. I'll put that also in the show notes.
Thank
So
you.
people can go check that out in the show notes.
Okay.
So before we wrap up, what would you like to offer as a takeaway? Why words of wisdom for our audience today? There's a lot. There's a lot.
It is, and this, and if whenever anyone think or comes across my content, there is. I say that my work is light coded, and I call forth light codes to flow through all of my service work, to assist anyone, anywhere that comes into any contact with my content. And then I release it because I know that the universe is perfect. And I always, when they think about Queen D. Michelle or my work or anything, I want one line to really come to mind. And that is, and this is my sign off signature: one light, one love.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Blessings. Blessings, my friend.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
It was.
Wow. Wow. You were so engaged. You were really, taking it all in. I appreciate that.
It's my work too. This is my work too. And I tell people.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, and I tell people, and there's very few people that you will meet in your entire life, in one lifetime, in a single lifetime. And I was dwelling on this last night. There's very few people that you will meet in your lifetime where it feels like you've known them forever. Wow. Whether they're friends or colleagues and stuff like that. And my dad once told me this. You'll know that you'll realize when you get older, that there are only less than a handful of people in your entire lifetime that you will truly consider a true friend, that is so close that you might as well call them a brother or sister.
Okay.
And that this community that I've created through Conscious Radio Network and the Seance podcast is creating those points, creating those space, nodes and those platforms, and that ability,
and anchoring that light here.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Creating that anchor of light for everybody, for the world to be able to
exactly.
Come in. Yep.
I know I feel that. I was so excited I was so excited for this one more than anything, because I felt that comes across. Your authenticity is genuine. And I was excited about this because when that beam hits that beam and that's what happened here today. That's those goosebumps, and that's why I'm vibrating like I am right now.
And what's very interesting is really cool. This almost cried when just tears of just happiness for some reason. It was like, what? So I met up with I had to stop by to talk to one of my entertainment lawyer. And I ran into Alex Filipino, the owner and creator of Podmatch.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ran into him, and I'm walking towards him in this big, huge atrium, and we get eye contact. We establish eye contact, and he looks at me, and his eyes are like bright, he recognizes me right away, and he goes, "Oh my God!" And he's like, "Dude, give me a hug, man." I'm like, "Hey, man!"
Wow.
And he's like, and I told him, he's like, what I'm doing, what's going on this year in 2025, and the plans that I have, and he thanked me so much about trying to get with the membership and just the community that I've created here. It's like it might not show it on Podmatch, but with the visibility that he sees and the engagement
he sees. Okay, so he's letting you know, man. Yeah. Hey, the momentum is there. We're doing the work. That's our service work, and it lights us up. It lights me up to talk about this. It lights me up for one person to get it or I feel that confirmation from it, because it's been a long time. I've kind of been alone in this thing, especially, that's why when I came back, I just set it aside. That's not
Yeah.
here. That was Mexico.
Yeah.
That's not here.
And when you see people or hear people mention that you made a difference in their life, that you helped them in some form or fashion, that has completely changed the direction of their life to the greatest and best. It's amazing.
I know that this was my service. I didn't know. I've always been in service, in the sense I've always been on this path. I've always been on this journey. I was a teacher, for goodness sake, always with the children, always with the children. And I kind of feel like I wasn't supposed to know that this was for them. I would have messed it up.
Yeah.
You feel I would have messed it up. I had a different audience in mind when I create. That's how come I know the intention in this is undefiled, because it wasn't even for them.
Yeah.
But then the circumstances, I never would have thought in a million years I would be back here.
And that's the beauty of the divine and the universe. It's like we can't have too many expectations on things.
Right.
And that's living in the moment and mastering the here now.
Yes.
And then once you have it mastered, that energy, the creation, the law of attraction, that energy, when you have enough of it, then you're like, now what do I do? Now what's the next step? Don't worry. The divine will give it to you.
Oh, listen, man. Just go right, go left, call him, talk to her, sit down, stand up, go over there.
Right.
Or the synchronicities alone that come your way, those winks, those synchronicities that say, that continue to let you know that you hold in that bandwidth. That's what I look at it, that resonance. Of New Earth. We are living. I'm living New Earth now. I'm in residence. Either one. RESONATE or RESID as a resident. In New Earth. I resonate there. Now, do I go in and out? I do, but because I'm here, and there is light to be anchored, and service work to be done, and
there you go.
I enjoy the fruits of this wonderful planet. This, I call it Earth School. That's why my book is Traveling Home Together. I had to change it to Traveling Home Together. At first, it's only 8 chapters. I was 6 chapters in, and then discovered that book, the title of that book was already taken by none other than Ron Dass.
Whoa.
See, the book was supposed to be, I had it was going to be Walking Home to, Walking Home Together. Yes, because my concept, we're all walking home. We're all just walking home together. So I got this little metaphoric thing going on, because I used to walk home from school, right? So I'm at this over a friend house, a book club or something, and a lady comes in. She's getting ready to start this meditation group. She said, we're getting ready to start this meditation group, and the book is called Walking Home Together.
What?
I said, no. She said, yeah, by Ron Dass. You ever heard of it, Walking Home? And I said, that's the name of my... Wait. And and I Googled it, and listen, he had coined that whole phrase. I mean, that was in his work all through. He owned Walking Home Together.
That is the energy of the collective. That's the energy of the collective, because we are all, that's part of the one. That is part of the one.
Oh, absolutely. All that is, all that is. So I changed it to Traveling Home Together, but it's those synchronicities that keep us alive, keep us alive. We know that we're aligned and that we're doing the good work, and we're enjoying the fruits of our service work, because we should have fun. Yeah. It should be fun. Our experience here should be fun and blissful and exciting and adventurous, because here's my thing. And this is something that's, the crust of Traveling Home Together for me, as I wrote. God in me, expressed in form as me, is experiencing itself through me and is me.
Yeah.
I and my creator are one. I am one with all that is. I am. We are.
Yep.
This is a
are.
cool
We
ride,
shall be.
right? It's
Yeah.
it's a cool ride. It's good to be woke.
Oh yeah. Wow.
All right. Well,
Whew,
thank you
Queen.
so much, hon.
Blessings, my friend. Blessings.
Thank you. Back
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thank you,
right.
everybody, for watching the Seance podcast. And we will see you. Where's all my buttons here? There we go. Nice platform. I need a producer.
That would be good.
That would be good, but it might be coming. It might
Now, you know
slowly
what?
but
It's still
surely.
saying record.
Yeah, but we are about
Are we
ready to
done?
go. So I got.
Oh, I
There
see
we
what
go.
you're
I
saying.
found it.
It was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
50-minute thing, right?
50
Cool,
minutes.
cool.
But anyway, thank you, everybody.
All right,
We'll
baby.
watch us again next time, next week, anyway. Thank you. Blessings, everybody, and we will see you next time.